Professor Stuart Bunn spends a lot of time fishing on Australian rivers, all in the name of science.
The more fundamental work that I do is really focused on understanding where do things that live in these freshwater systems, where do they get their energy and nutrients.
One way of doing that is to study the chemical signatures that occur naturally in plants and animals. Professor Bunn analyses small tissue samples for traces of carbon, nitrogen and sulphur. These isotopic signatures are transferred from prey to predator, proving the old saying, you are what you eat.
And so by studying the chemical signatures in the animals, we can tell not only what they've eaten, but where they've done their feeding.
It was during one such project that he discovered that large crocodiles in northern Australia were preferring to feast on visitors to the river rather than aquatic prey.
Most large crocodiles in that part of the country are feeding predominantly on feral animals, feral pigs in particular. So that's a big aquatic predator that's not even feeding in the river.
Professor Bunn is internationally recognised for his research on the structure of freshwater ecosystems, which are home to incredible biodiversity, including around 40% of the world's fish species.
Freshwater systems are the most threatened ecosystem on the planet, largely from pressures that come from intensive land use, the use of water for industry and agriculture, the pollution from cities and farming as well.
And as Australians know only too well, our rivers and catchments have become far less resilient to extreme weather events.
What that means is that water that lands on the landscape flows into the river systems much more quickly, at a lot more velocity, because there's not the protective vegetation along the river banks.
Professor Bunn says recent natural disasters demonstrate the importance of learning from science. He's currently developing a set of tools that model various strategies for preparing our landscape for the inevitable consequences of climate change.
How do we maximise our investment, slowing water down, reducing erosion, reducing pollution, and of course reducing the damage that flooding causes?
He says he hopes becoming a Fellow of the Australian Academy of Science will allow his work to resonate more widely.
That's a really important role for science, is not simply just to sit back and publish your work and hope that someone will actually read it and make a decision based on it, but to actually get out there and work to influence policy along the way.